there, I'm Leslie Goodyear. Welcome back to The Complete Horse. Hi there, everybody. Welcome to The Complete Horse. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. I'm Leslie Goodyear, and today I'm going to show you how to find, know, and buy your dream horse without falling into some of the sneaky deal-making pitfalls that we all know are out there. Now, I'm going to do this by walking you through the exact system that I personally use to evaluate, negotiate, and buy horses of all levels and disciplines all around the world. And I'm going to show you how you can do this too pretty easily without falling into the typical horse dealer traps that we all know. And I'm going to show you how to do this by navigating around them. So here's what you're going to learn in this presentation. Now, first I'm going to show you whether you're actually ready for horse ownership. And there are some really seriously awesome alternatives that will still allow you to have a horse in your life if the answer happens to be not yet. So stick with us with this, okay? I'm also going to help to set you up to be your own advocate. And I'm going to do this with information that will put you really firmly in the driver's seat by employing my SuperNet system. You're going to love this. Next, I'm going to show you how to look at any horse critically and know the 10 things to ask a buyer that will save you time, money, and stress in the deal. And you're also going to learn how to make sure the horse of your dreams is the right, the sound, and the appropriate individual who will be your solid partner for years to come. So here's why this is important right now. The horse world is fairly well known for pitfalls, for shady deals, and for folks with really strong opinions. And in the end, this really doesn't serve the great horses, and it really doesn't serve people who just want to ride and to experience the horse world. Your horse is out there, and the best way to navigate through all of it quickly and easily to get to him is to be armed with your own solid information and your own solid strategy. So now, here's a little bit about me. When I was 16, I started working in the thoroughbred business. I looked at about 4,000 to 9,000 sale horses per year in Kentucky and France and England, starting when I was about in college. And I've looked at hundreds since then. I've had great horses, and I've also been in the business of good horses. So I have been able to put myself in a really great position today. The horses that I have through the years evaluated and bought for my really great clients who have trusted me have done incredibly well. I've been really lucky about this. They've won races, they've won Horse of the Year titles, they've sold for incredible profits, they've earned amateur championship titles, and they've served really special riders happily for years and years, which is what matters to me the most. And they've won millions of dollars on the racetracks, and they have stayed sound through really, really tough endurance races. All of this happened for a couple of reasons. First, because a couple of respected, really experienced mentors took the time to teach me, and I put in the time to learn it. And now I want to turn the tables around, and I really want to help you to learn this too. So the truth is, with all of that said, there really is nothing special about me. I started with horses borrowed for the summer, and my first horse of my own was a 4-year-old ranch horse from Pavilion, Wyoming. His name was Bo. He loved porcupines. After that, I was the one that always had the challenge horses. And my first professor was a horse named Frosty Osage. He was a quarter horse, and he was purchased from the proceeds of the sale of the family piano. So I didn't come from a really highbrow beginning, but I sure loved horses. And this guy was Dodger, and he was the problem horse of the century, and he was my pal for more than 20 years. And I owe a lot of what I know about horses to hard knocks learning with this horse. The other one I really learn a lot from and who I really attribute to is this man. So when I was so horse crazy, I went to college in Kentucky, where the truth is I cleaned a lot of stalls, I mowed a lot of fields, and I walked a lot of horses. But I also got to work for really amazing people, both in the U.S. and abroad, including this man. His name was Joss Collins. He's the late Joss Collins. And he was an incredibly respected and very gruff bloodstock agent for the British Bloodstock Agency. And later he started a company called Blandford Bloodstock. And other than being famous for that shirt, he was also an amazing mentor who was grumpy, yes, but he was so generous with his knowledge. And I looked at many, many thousands of horses with him. Well, it seems that it rubbed off all of that time. And with all of this, being lucky enough to work for some of the best in the business, I found that through the wonderful slog of working with and evaluating these thousands upon thousands of horses with these people, and for making deals for sport horses and breeds, I quietly noticed a pattern and a very specific system emerged that works like clockwork every single time, anywhere in the world, regardless of discipline. So now I'm going to teach you that system so that you too can find your everyday champion, because I know what that means. So here is my promise to you. I'm going to teach you as much as I can in the limited time that we have together today. And before I conclude, I promise to show you how you can get more of this and take it even further. I'm sorry we only have such a short time today, but I have a really great opportunity for you. So I hope you can stay all the way through the end and get some good information. But first things first, horses are dangerous, and nothing I can teach you will change that. Today, I'm going to walk you through the steps that, if employed, will help you to navigate the horse evaluation and purchasing process. But here's the thing, it's not going to work for everybody. Even those who are really dedicated, horses are still dangerous and largely unpredictable, which is why there are laws in 47 states called EALAs, which are called stand for Equine Activity Liability Acts, that say really in essence that there is inherent risk with involvement with horses, and that nobody is liable for injury or death for anyone involved or in proximity to equine activities. Okay, now with all that seriousness aside, let's start looking into the existing system and scenarios for buying a horse. Are you ready? Okay, so you can't stand it any longer. You know that you need a horse in your life, so you do the natural thing and you Google horses for sale in your area. And you discover the wonders of dreamhorse.com and HorseClicks. Yes, we all spend time here. And maybe you had some dreams about Morgans and Arabians because books you read by Margaret Henry when you were a kid, which is really great. So you go to the breeds page and naturally you do what we all do and you first click on Akaltiki because it's at the top of the list, and what the heck is an Akaltiki? So you click it and you see this image right up top, this listing. And you think, oh, okay, so that's an Akaltiki. Well, I wonder if I'm even saying that right. So you decide to look to see how to pronounce it, and the first of many Google images that comes up for Akaltiki is this. Google versus ad on the top of dreamhorse.com. Must be a little bit more to this game than I thought, you'd think. But you forge ahead anyway into it, and now knowing that you maybe just have to watch your step a little. Well, in this process, there are a couple of scenarios that you could encounter from here forward, and sadly, both are likely. So here we go. Scenario number 1. After moving past the Akaltiki, a nice listing catches your eye for a really pretty mare that happens to be at a facility nearby. The kind voice on the other end of the phone when you call tells you that the horse is a beginning show horse belonging to her son or daughter who just left to study abroad for a year and is a lovely, dead quiet, best friend pocket pony who has never taken a lame or sketchy step as long as you've known. And she's happy to give you the veterinarian's phone number. She further explains that they're really only letting her go to exactly the right home because they feel kind of guilty that the horse, after having brought the son or daughter to a whole new level as a rider, is just being ridden by the trainer right now. And she's done pony club and 4-H trails, parades, more trails, training level eventing, dressage clinics, cowboy dressage, and visits to the hospital on Wednesday afternoons. The list goes on. And then she asks you a little bit about your experience, and she asks what you're looking for, thinks that maybe you might be a great fit, and so you make an appointment to go see the horse at your convenience. So meanwhile, in the meantime, you call the vet, and it turns out that he's your vet too, and he says he just did x-rays on the horse, and yeah, she has a few minor things, but they don't worry him, and she's a really nice horse who he really honestly can't believe is for sale. So you arrive at the farm and you wait with excitement as the lady goes into the barn and she leads out this horse. Boom, the horse of your dreams. You have a chance to ride her and she's perfect. Well, the lady, the seller, knows that you're interested and that you're new to horses, and she wants to be sure that it really works for you, so she offers to lease the mare to you for now, if that feels better to you. She further offers to board the horse for 6 months at a discount and give you lessons with the 2 or 3 other new amateurs at her stable, and then says that you can actually apply your lease to the purchase eventually if you decide to buy her. So naturally, like all of us, you write a check on the spot. Horse people are laughing at this right now. And then you move on and you have years of fun and wonderful learning partnership with this sweet and wonderful horse. Congratulations, you've won the lottery. Now, here is the flip side scenario. I really wish that was the rule of norm. So on the flip side, you find the same listing in your area for horses for sale, and you find the listing and image for the same horse. You call your friend who asks her trainer if she knows the farm because it's nearby, and the trainer passes along the message to absolutely go there. So you call the seller who tells you that she's selling it for a friend and it is the nicest horse in the barn. She is completely sound packer who is always in the ribbons, and you're lucky you called because someone from Rodrigo Pessoa is interested and they're coming to look at her tomorrow. So, of course, you don't want to miss out, so you drop everything and you run to see her. So you arrive and you're taken down a barn aisle to a stall that's a little bit more messy than the others, and an assistant unclips the lunge line from the halter hanging on the door before putting it on her and leading her out. Ah, here she comes. Same mare, same scenario. Boom, horse of your dreams. The assistant then saddles and bridles with a drop noseband that he has to work to tighten correctly and climbs on the mare so that you can watch her go while the seller asks endless questions about your work, where you live, etc., and how this is the horse that they would choose for their mother. They ask you who you ride with, and you mention having taken lessons from your friend's trainer, and then they said, hi, you think it's a nice connection. You finally ride, and as you settle into the saddle, the sweaty horse sighs and walks forward. You love how sweet and quiet she is, so you ask the price. You receive a special price because you were sent by your friend's trainer, but you need to make that deal fast because, Rodrigo Pessoa, he buys there regularly. So you mentioned that you'd like to have a vet come look at the horse, and you receive assurances that the horse's owner had x-rays taken recently and they're perfect. So they'll email them tonight to you. They don't have them on them. So you really want to discourage Rodrigo's people because in your heart, you really don't want to miss this lovely horse after so many years of looking for her, and she just feels like the right horse. So that evening, the x-rays come from the seller with the veterinary assurances. And so you email back with all of the excitement in the world that you will wire the remainder of the balance the next morning. And the next morning, you notice while at the bank that the deposit check you left for them to hold was actually deposited the day before, despite instructions. It's okay. Well, so you're excited, and the horse arrives after a couple of days of waiting. But when she gets there, she weaves really nervously in her stall and then spooks and kind of flips out during a lesson. She drops the bit and takes off in a panic. Well, the instructor, who is not your friend's trainer, it's somebody different, tells you that she looks a little off, so you call an equine vet to have a look at her. He mentions that he has seen this horse around and he likes her, and he asks if he could have a look at the PPE, which is the pre-purchase exam. So you send him the email right there on the spot from your iPhone, assuring him that this was all you were given. And he frowns a little, noting two telltale signs that these were probably not the x-rays for her horse, and they must have made a mistake. So while sending the files from your phone, he sees the photos the seller sent and shows her 3 red flags in the photos. Really nothing fatal, just that he had wished he could have investigated further before she made the offer. Now the equine vet takes a few x-rays and draws some blood, and while he's doing so, he kind of mentions that this horse has been for sale for a while, and he asks if you'd mind telling him how much you paid. No, you don't worry about it, so you tell him, and his eyebrows go up. So he goes and he does the test, and he calls back with the result. And it turns out she has mild navicular disease and some arthritis in her hind left, and her blood tested positive for a mild sedative and bute, which is phenylbutazone, which is basically like an equine aspirin, sort of, but it's actually banned in horse shows. And it treats pain, and it masks pain. She also has a lateral issue in her front left hoof, which may be helped with a good farrier, but she probably shouldn't be jumped, maybe ever. And there's some old scar tissue in her front left forearm to her knee that shouldn't affect her too much, but it's exacerbated by her habit as a stall weaver and will probably limit her movement a bit and make her occasionally really sore under hard work. And he notes that the price you paid was $1,000 more than her listed price on examplehorsesalessite.com. It was tacked on to accommodate a commission to your friend's trainer for the referral. So how did that vet know every problem they would find before he ran the tests? And why did this happen? Each of the fail points in the second scenario are equally as likely as the success points in the first. So everyone who has bought a horse is nodding in agreement. It's happened to all of us. And my husband grumbles that the latter is the rule. Well, they happen to experts. These things happen to experts, and they really happen to those who are less seasoned as buyers. So that said, what if? What if we were able to step in advance with all of the clues presented here to change this? What if we eliminated that second scenario almost completely? By the way, at the end of this webinar, I'll show you exactly how he knew, just from 2 photos. But I have a pretty strong theory about how we can fix this scenario just by navigating it specifically and differently with system. So why don't you check it out with me and maybe see if you agree. So an overview of my new TCH system, and TCH stands for the Complete Horse, is a 5-step system. Number 1, know your depth and look it in the face, which is much harder than it is to say. And I understand that. Step number 2, hunt for the dream. Step number 3, setting up your SuperNet system. Step 4, holster the dreaded dreamy eye with the TCH Basic Horse Foundations. And step 5, dancing the deal. And let me give you a hint. The wallet always leads the 2-step in dancing the deal. So today, for our time, I really want to dive into step 3 specifically of my primary horse buying formula, because it's the one that will help you get the best tools, the best tool that I promised as quickly as possible. So it starts with the SuperNet is NET. It starts with N, the notice matrix. 2 is your expert roundtable, and T is your TCH Foundation 4, which is really a nice way of saying to be your own advocate. So the first is the notice matrix. And what on earth is a notice matrix? And why is it important? Well, really clever sellers are very good at preying upon the really sweet and transparent inattention that rides on the hope and excitement of buying a horse. In our enthusiasm, we often miss dozens of little and often unexpectedly important details that build the bigger picture. So whatever the picture is, good or bad, is truly unimportant. That we see it puts us in the power spot, and missing it means that we're flying blind. This is really important. And this also will embolden our seller by revealing our novice selves. Now, the notice matrix, number 1, this is the quiet net of attention that you blanket over the entire experience. It's sort of like paying attention from the outside in, and it takes practice. So number 1, notice the horse. Does anything draw your eye? Make note of it, no matter how insignificant it may seem. What's your gut reaction? What's your first reaction? Something seems sleepy about the horse, anxious about the horse, nervous about the horse, off about the horse. This is your chance to take control and really notice it for yourself. Don't leave this to someone else, and don't leave this to someone else to tell you. This is where you are going to have the trump card. You're going to hold your fate in your own hands. So number 1, notice the horse. Number 2, notice around the horse and how it reacts to everything around it. Notice the stall. The stall was a little bit messy. It was a great indication that that horse was a weaver. Notice the lunge line. Notice that it's sloppy. If it's been lunged, that means the horse is going to be tired. That's a clue. It's really important in scenario number 2. Notice that the woman asked you about what you were interested in and where you were on scenario number 1. All of these things, good or bad, don't matter. They're just an indicator to you about the scenario you're in and how you can respond to it. Now, number 3, notice around the horse. Number 3 is notice the people around the horse. Notice how they behave around them. Notice if they wrinkle their face, or if they roll their eyes, or if they watch carefully to see you going down to look at the crazy horse or the beautiful horse. Everyone is going to give away little minute details or little minute clues about a horse that you're going to see if you really watch them. Listen to their tone of voice, see demeanor, sideways glances, shrugs. Watch how somebody walks into the stall. Watch how they put the halter on. Watch the affection they have for the horse. These are all clues that are going to help you in the long run to get a clear picture. Now, the final thing is to notice the horse's reaction to the people around him. Is he numb? Is he bright? Is he friendly? Does he nose around in their hand? What kind of responses do you see? Again, is he shy? Could it be the person? Could it be him? These are all things that, again, they don't mean good or bad. They just mean that they say something about the picture in general. Okay. the notice matrix itself and this little system, it's really closely connected to the focus element in the complete horse foundation step. And here's the trick. Just because you notice it, you do not have to feel one way or another about it. Just file it, make note of it, and move on. Because you might be wrong, it might be a misinterpretation, and other clues may put it into a better perspective. So your general impression of a horse may be like seeing heart-stopping, light-inducing, angel singing magic, or meh. Either way, file it, don't think much about it one way or the other, and move on. It's just a quiet building block for the complete picture. Okay, the next is a really fun one, and this is my trump card. This is my most important part. If you get this and nothing else from this whole scenario and from everything I'm going to do from here forward, this is the one I want you to take away. It's to put together your round table, your experts round table. This is what levels the playing field across the boards. So here's the problem it answers. Anyone looking at a horse needs a detached, trustworthy perspective. Without it, you're just relying on your own limited view and the questionable chance opinion of somebody who happens to be there, regardless of conflict of interest. This step, it stops the slime factor cold in its tracks, especially if you have someone such as an agent or a trainer considering a horse on your behalf. This is where you empower yourself to become your own advocate, because an educated, impartial eye gives you perspective that you can often reveal honesty or lack thereof. It also gives you a different picture to look at things differently. So if you're looking at a horse on your own, it also gives you a more complete picture really to take into consideration. First, build a call list of 2 to 3 people who have complete professional detachment from the situation. And they're people who you trust, who will tell you an unbiased assessment, however ugly or bright it may be. And I always, honestly, nearly always have my mom or a friend who knows how to quietly read situations go with me to look at a horse, just because they can read situations, even if they don't necessarily have an education about horses. Because my dad could quietly pick a snake out of a crowd in a heartbeat. He just had a knack for it. And if somebody rubbed him sideways, it's something, again, you take into account and you listen to. Now, I have 2 experts who are mentor level experts who I call with nearly every horse I consider over $15,000. One is awesome. He's totally crusty and gruff, and he mixes no words, and he says this is why I don't do this for people, because I often hurt their feelings and crush their dreams. And the only time he mixes words is to make them more colorful. And the other is an insanely conservative and suspicious, and she is going to find any blip or shenanigans that exist. And I trust them utterly because they don't have a dog in the fight. And they have no reason to do anything but tell me right what they see. So if you don't have these 2 people anywhere at the end of your reach, or somebody like this at the end of your reach, another option I really love a lot is to connect with a professional anonymously. And I misspelled anonymously, I apologize there. But you connect with a true expert from a top level organization like Rudin Riddle or Haggard Davidson McGee in Kentucky, or UC Davis or CSU Fort Collins, or I love the Ocala Equine Hospital. There are 2 places or 3 in Ocala that I love. What you can do is you can Google equine sports medicine and really just find the ones that are on the first couple pages and throw a dart at it. For a really small fee, you can call them and say, hey, would you mind taking a look at this PPE for me? And sometimes they can be more or less involved. And you can say, hey, can you look at these x-rays for me? Can you look and see, tell me what you think? And almost always they are willing to do that. I think they actually really quite enjoy this. And again, it gives you that protection from the anonymity, and it removes the connections that could mess up a deal from the middle. It takes away shady deals. It takes away connections that a vet may have with a seller or with an owner, or some vested interest they may have in a connection with the horse. It just removes that, and it gives you that barrier and that boundary. And again, file it and use it as perspective. So I like to go for the total experts because the family vets are amazing, but maybe they haven't seen quite as much from these guys. And with these guys, when you go back with your opinion and you go to make your offer for your deal, you're packing some good, solid information that they can't really question very hard. So now, the truth is that this expert roundtable step is, to me, arguably the most important in the whole system. It's the unstoppable ace in the hole that addresses that awkward question of judgment about somebody's ethics really gracefully, really simply, just by removing it. And on the flip side, I'm actually asked to give my unbiased opinion about a horse in Timbuktu several times per week. And the few people who do call me know that I'm absolutely not attached to their decision one way or the other. I'm just putting out what I see. And the value in this is that if it rubs hard against the grain of their opinion, well, then that really means something. But if it rings true or offers something they didn't see before, well, then they have more food for thought. Either way, at the end of the day, you can see from all this that you are your own advocate, and it is your choice whether or not to be an informed one. When this brings us to our final step, and the final step is to haul out your old practice TCH foundations. Now, TCH stands for the complete horse, if you were wondering. And even if you're a beginner, when you step into the horse buying stage, you need to be set as a horseman. It's part of your responsibility to the deal. It's important for at least two reasons. Number one, it establishes an unspoken bar of respect and expectation. And number two, it translates to the deal by setting your own mind in the place of a horseman rather than as a spectator, which will serve you to actively notice the horse rather than your excitement about it, the environment around you while you're looking. It will tune a more critical eye. And finally, it will help you know where to be and how to respond in relation to the deal at hand. So, how does this work? How do you do this? Well, the Complete Horse Guide to Basic Horsemanship teaches 4 foundational practices to setting a safe presence with horses. So the crash course cliff notes here, it starts with setting your attire, and this means stepping in like a horseman. And my students know what this means. It means stepping in with the proper shoes, with boots, with a heel, and with pants, and with a long sleeve shirt, or at least a horse appropriate shirt. It means before you even step into the stage, you've set yourself up to be safe and to be respected. Number 2, setting your environment. And that means putting away your cell phone and distractions and making it so you can exist in that place with horses with a degree of professionalism or horsemanship that it sort of demands. Number 3 is to set your focus. And as people who are my students know, this is the most important thing, and it translates everywhere. Setting your focus means to stop and throw that net of attention around everything, as we discussed before, and really paying attention and seeing everything before it happens. And number 4 is setting your position. Now, setting your position means knowing where the safe place to be is. And, this is physical with the horse, and this is metaphorical with the deal as well. So really what it means is to set yourself in the spot where you are safest and you're strongest and you can move the most nimbly. And I know this seems a little bit strange, but it is the final nuance in this section. And so this SuperNet system will not fail you, and it is the thing that sets me apart from every other seller. So it really seems to be a real stretch to say that these things apply to assessing and deal making with horses. But the truth is that the only thing that's squirrelier and more unpredictable than an unknown horse is an unknown horse person trying to sell it. Setting yourself up with the foundations of a safe presence will serve you well for different reasons. And knowing this, one of my favorite things to do is to de-optimize this on purpose. So filming a rider or playing a little part of my own while giving preference to my partner, it all throws them off the scent a little bit so that I can pay attention and look at a horse without worrying about what I'm giving away with my facial expressions. Now, the important distinction with all this is that you take counsel and the opportunity to learn from folks who you respect, who have and offer knowledge and perspective about all this. But at the end of the day, the pocketbook is ultimately yours, and so too is that decision. That is at the very bottom line. You take in all of the details, you take in all of the accounts, you take in all of the advice, but ultimately the decision and the responsibility rests not with a trainer, not with an advocate of some sort, but with you. And so inform yourself and you'll really be happy in the long run. So, okay, there you have it. What I have shown you is just one really major part of the exact system I've used to get a horse of the year and many, many champions mentioned before. So, in the past hour, would you agree that it has been time well spent? I think it hasn't been quite an hour, but it's getting up there. Well, unfortunately, this amount of time is not enough to tell you everything you need. At this point, you really have two options because what I have to teach actually is in a 5-week course. So option number 1, you can take everything that you've learned here today and the outline of the system that I gave you, and you can research how to do it yourself and try to go it alone. And who knows, if you took good notes and you're a really big action taker, you really should be able to see success. Certainly you're going to have a lot of improvement employing and engaging a little bit of this. I hope you're able to use a little bit of that. And you are welcome to do that. I'm really happy if you took the time to spend with us and left with some value. That's really all I'm ever about. So that makes me really happy. But there is an option 2. And option 2 is the wise choice. You can shortcut this process and learn directly from an expert who's been there, i.e. me. And so if you'd like to have me help you out to implement everything we talked about, I'd be delighted to do it and to add a lot more to it. So if you do, here's how we'll do it. Here's the problem you have. You have this dream to have a really great, solid horse in your life. And you've probably had people and lack of information standing between you and that dream for a long time. So to address this, here's what I have for you. I have put together the Complete Horse Purchasing Guide for the Everyday Champion. It's a master system for safeguarding the deal. Big fancy name. This is a 5-week, really deeply comprehensive course that teaches my master system for buying horses and safeguarding yourself in the deal. And it's much like what I just taught, but it's 5 weeks of it and it's slowed down with a deeper look. And it's a lot of fun. And here's what it will do. Here's what we do for you. Week number 1, are you ready? We will establish whether or not you're actually ready for a horse. We'll talk about the bare bones requirements and basic economics. We'll talk about the basics of whether you might be interested in lessons or leasing or buying a horse. And week number 2 will be finding your dream horse. We'll look at where to look, and have a great network of people to talk to. We're going to look at everything from rescue to racehorse, and we're going to talk about the upshots and side shots and down shots of all of that. And it's all online, so you can research it. We're going to talk about breeds and how to do your own homework and do your own due diligence. And we're also going to address the economy of altruism. Week number 3, we're going to really jump into that SuperNet system, and I'm going to slow it way down and explain it a lot better. We're going to help you work with me to build your own roundtable, and I'm going to show you how I do that and how it's all set up beforehand. And we're going to talk about using an agent versus an advocate and find out all the differences between all the players. And we're going to say that cloaks aren't just for Renaissance fairs. You're going to have to join us to see what that means, but it's pretty cool. The next week 4, we're going to start with a pre-purchase exam and see what the heck is a PPE. And we're going to go through the anatomy of a pre-purchase exam and explain exactly what it is and what they're looking at and what's needed and what isn't and how to optimize it. We're going to talk about the power of a pre-purchase exam. Again, it just puts you in the driver's seat if it's done really well. And they don't know that you're in the driver's seat. It's an extraordinarily powerful tool, so much so that I dedicated an entire week to it. So it's a really great thing to know. Like I said, I've taught some ways to bracket this, to know how to optimize this for different budgets, and we're going to do that a little bit later. Week number 5, we're going to learn how to holster those dreamy eyes for Battle Captain. We're going to talk about how exactly to look at a sale horse, how to watch them walk, how to look for anatomy red flags. And we are going to really hone in, drill down, and have a look at the critical ride. And then we're going to do something that is really something that I love. It's another cornerstone for me that is very, very unique, much like the SuperNet system. And this is called stacking the story. And this is when you put it all together, all of those things that I just mentioned, it all belongs somewhere. So we're going to talk about stacking the story so that you can build your offer. Now, because I love bonuses, that is a full course. And it may get fluffed up a little as you join, but it's all set and it's a really great system. And I'm going to be present for it, especially now. But the bonus, I'm going to talk about the dance of the deal. And one thing that has happened is in my work as an internet entrepreneur and working in internet marketing is that I'm really quite good at and have learned from some incredible salespeople about the deal. And I found that there are parallels that are extraordinary between being a buyer and being and the seller. So that's a really smart way to be able to approach it, to be able to get the most bang for your buck. And it's a really fun, exciting bonus. It's not something I'm offering every time, but this time I definitely am. So, and now the last bonus is, as I mentioned, it's best practices for optimizing your budget. And this came from a question from a friend of mine who said, look, what if I just have a budget of $18,000 and I have 5 horses that I'm looking at? How do I know how to go and be able to have the budget to go look at all these horses and have all the pre-purchases done? Because they can be almost $1,000 a piece, or actually a full true PPE that I do for some of our really big expensive jumpers is way more than that. So how do you optimize for that? How do you still do your due diligence and still be able to afford the best horse in the bunch for that price range? Well, I have an answer for that. So this is a good question. Would you like to know now how to get this entire huge 5-week course for free? I thought you would. Well, here's the deal. I want to give this course to you just for trying my new and definitely all-time favorite program, which is the Complete Horse Guide Private Membership. Now, I am really excited about this course. It is a world-class, real-time, all things equine management training, live membership. And here's what it will do for you. The highlight of it is that it's real-time training. I'll give live members only webinars at least twice a month, featuring training in all equine topics from nutrition and general management, safe barn designs, equine world news and events, product reviews, lifestyles, beautiful barn visits, interviews with equine leaders and experts on the cutting edge for the real deep dive look into cool new innovations you can put to work immediately. This is really cool. I have one where they've put full biofeedback and bio reporting on a halter. Oh, it's so cool. They have really amazing things that are out there. But I really want to cover the basics for people who want to step into the horse world, and that's where this is. So you are also going to have live one-on-one live, which is it's a once per month consultation with member submissions. So a member can submit some questions or a scenario or an image or a video of a horse and ask my opinion, and I'll go through and do an assessment of this live. And this offers a great opportunity for the community to be able to learn something. So that's, you'll also have private Complete Horse community access with a private Complete Horse Facebook page. And this is great because everyone in the community can ask questions. It's a safe place to ask questions that you might be embarrassed to ask somebody else about. And I'll be on it all the time, me, and I have one other expert who will be on there all the time answering questions and advising things. And there's a lot of fun in sharing some cool articles that have been going around and some Christmas deals that have been going on and holiday things. And it's just it's a great community. It's a lot of fun. And we're real careful to keep the damper on it a little bit so it doesn't get too drama filled. And it's a super friendly group. We're really excited about it. And so here is why this is actually a really cool decision for you to think about. Normally 2 training webinars, I would charge $300. And because you're going to be getting 2 a month, this is part of the whole deal. So 2 of them, the minimum I would charge would be about $300. I would also have a consultation webinar. Any consultation webinar that I do, both private and with small groups, is $500 minimum. You'll have a private group access. That's worth $200 a month. Plus, you'll have my bonuses, the bonus that you just saw, which is the horse purchasing guide for everyday champions. So you'll have access to this. It's a 5-week deal. It takes 5 weeks to go through it. And the nice thing is that by doing this membership, you know that I'll be standing by through the whole thing and every step of the way. The next thing is, as you know, you can tell I love bonuses. So here's something else that I'm adding. I told you I love doing bonuses. So here's something else that I'm adding that is kind of a big deal. I'm going to kick in the Complete Horse Guide to Basic Horsemanship. Remember, I mentioned that? Well, I feel like that is at the very heart of everything that we teach here at the Complete Horse, with everything all the way through the very advanced veterinary and nutrition and everything. And as you can see, it has different impacts and different things, but there are those threads that go all the way through. Now, this is a really foundational basic course that teaches the things that you may not even know that you don't know. a lot of us learned these things because we were kids and we learned the hard way through bumps and bruises, but it's also going to just kind of put you a little bit ahead of the ball when you go to step into a barn. You know that you'll have the right things on. You'll know that how to bridle and saddle and groom a horse the right way. You'll how to lead, how to put on a halter rope, and you'll understand the nuances of all these. You understand grooming kits and the way I've groomed horses to be $11 million sail topper yearlings in Europe. I do exactly the same thing with every horse. I don't care who they are. They all get groomed the same. And so it's super thorough and it teaches all basic horsemanship. So if you don't have older foundations with horses, well, this is going to give you some really cool new skills to put to work. So I'm going to add that, and we sell that right now for $295. And as it's been growing even more, it's been released now for quite a while, and it's had such a great response. It's probably going to kick up a little bit higher because we're adding so much to it. So that's worth $295. And the other thing I'm going to add is something that is, I think, really important for people to go into this with a lot of knowledge, and so they don't waste a lot of money and they don't go in and get overwhelmed. And that is the Complete Horse Guide to Equinomics. I'm putting this into this as well. So what this does is it gives you the full picture of costs for keeping and maintaining a horse and managing a horse in a lot of different situations. So we're going to talk about how much it costs if you keep them at home in a barn, how much it will, what the range of costs are, really just the bottom line ranges of the cost. And it's going to give some strategies to kind of ease the pain. And this is something that I've put together over the years because I'm a horse professional. I really know budgets. I manage them. I manage managers who manage them, and I present them to owners, and we're able to really optimize this. So that's a skill I really want to give to you. So you have all of these things. Those are each $295, and the economics it's 2 courses. It may become a little bit more, but it's 2 weeks. It's pretty short, but it's full of information. There are a bunch of downloads, a bunch of financial schedules that are easy. I mean, they're for me. I'm not a financial person. So normally all of this together for this first month would be around almost $1,800. But of course, this deal. I'm not going to charge that at all. Really, my object in all of this and the reason why I'm doing this and giving these things away is because I want them to be out there. I really want great new faces for this awesome membership, and it really is awesome. And I really want to get this information out there before the holidays, because I think that this is going to add things when people are really considering for the holidays or this time of the year, and even in the summertime, in the spring. But really in the holidays, if you think that you want to buy a horse or have a horse in your life, this package to me will give you the really great foundations that you're going to need to have what you need to have a horse, or be able to make the right decisions. And plus you're going to have me, because I'm going to be doing these question and answer things. So you can ask me what you want to know. And having access to me costs a lot more than this. So I'm not going to charge $17.85 for this. Of course not. And because I'm psyched about this, I'm going to offer this for $49 a month, which kind of just barely covers my costs. It's kind of not bad, huh? Now, again, this is just $49 a month. If you were to take a clinic or go have somebody teach you this, you wouldn't be able to get away from a clinic for less than, I think my friend Linda Radigan charges a minimum of $100 a day, and she only offers 3-day clinics. So I know that that's kind of the norm, and I want this to be accessible. I want this solid information to be everywhere. So here's what you do. Here's what I want you to do next. That's a pretty great deal. You're not obligated. You can cancel any time you want. And if you don't like it, I don't like to have people there who don't feel like they're getting their bang for the buck. And so here's what I want you to do next, okay? It's pretty easy. All you have to do is click the button below. And you'll be sent to a payment portal, and boom, you'll be all on the inside with the rest of us, learning everything you want to know about horses. Now, the production quality that we have is really high. I'm going to share all of my horses. You'll get to meet Orgulloso. You'll get to meet Vance, my Frisian stallion. And it's a really great place to be. It's a lot of fun. You're going to learn a lot. And here's one more thing. This is why you should do this right now. This is why it really behooves you right now, even before the little cool timer that my tech guys, who are amazing, runs out. And believe me, it runs out. These tech wizard boys, these guys, boys, they're dudes, they're guys, they're so awesome. They know how to set that puppy so that when it runs out, and the deal really does disappear. They're sticklers that way, so I'm really sorry, but that's kind of the way it goes. When it runs out, the deal is out, and I can't offer $49 for very long. So anyway, if you'll jump on this right now, you're going to love this, and you're going to pounce on this. For the first 20 people who sign up for this complete horse membership from this offer that I'm putting out, the first 20 people who sign up for this membership are going to receive a 1-hour consultation via Skype with me for free. So I actually charge about $300 to $500 for that, depending on the people. If they've been longtime clients, I'll charge them $300 for that. But you're going to get it for free if you're one of the first 20 people to sign up. And it really is. It's 20 people. It's not 21, and it's not try next week. So if you really are interested, now is the time. We can talk about barn plans. I can help you assess your horse situation, whether you're looking at a certain horse for a certain person. This is what I do. This is what I do for people all over the world, for amazing families in the UAE and Europe and here. So this is a really big deal. And I really hope that you sign up and take me up on it, because I'd love to meet you and would love to do this, set this consultation up first on Skype. So hit the button below. Okay, so before you go, you wanted to know how my fictitious veterinarian knew what was wrong in those first 2 snapshots, right? I have to say that it's really common. It's totally fictitious. The second scenario, the images that I used, there were 2 completely random pictures that I scrounged up from the internet that just happened to be of the same horse. I knew nothing about the horse or the barn or the cellar, other than the barn behind him is really clean and it's a really pretty place, and the horse is very kind and lovely and dreamy. It's nothing but anything but random. But I promised to tell you about the 2 snapshots and how they could tell what was wrong with that scenario. So are you ready? All right. So how do we know what was wrong with just those 2 snapshots? Well, number one, if I were looking at this and somebody sent this to me, I would say I would have a couple of things. Here you go. And I just have a really big crush on this horse and this farm. But however idyllic, shelving the dreamy eyes and opening the notice matrix, first, number one, the horse is standing on grass. That could mean nothing. That could be just that they're into aesthetics and they don't really know, and they put the horse on the grass because it's pretty. I mean, look at how beautiful it is there. It's mowed. It's wonderful. But the problem is this. It's also, I don't know these people, so it's nothing personal. Even if, number two, it could be masking something. And here's my suspicion. This draws my eye, and it isn't really just because of the marking. It could be just because of the marking, and it could be because of the dip in the ground, but there's an angle there that I don't like. There's an angle there that bothers me. It concerns me. It catches my eye, remember? So the flip side of this is not to get suspicious and dramatic and everything. The answer to this is really, I'd like to just see the horse on flat, solid ground on the driveway behind it, just to know more. Either put it to rest or have me look even to the next step deeper. So the next thing that bothered me is that if you look really closely, this hind leg is puffy. It's swollen. Now this could be her age, which I don't know her age. It could be arthritis or degenerative navicular disease or a tendon issue. It could be any number of things that cause horses to swell up while they're standing in the stall. Either way, it's a red flag for her price, which was listed at $25,000. And for me, it's a bit of a yellow flag indicator about the seller of this horse, that they would post a photo of a horse with a leg in this condition. So either they didn't notice it, or it could be that they're just being forthright for people who would notice. I don't know. There's no way to know that answer. But both could mean nothing. And this could be with all of this horse could be the horse of a lifetime. So it's just really noteworthy and it needs further investigation to form really the correct picture. Okay, the other thing is I'd really love to know more about this scar. It could be nothing. Could be she just scraped herself when she was a 2-year-old. Could she be she had something, she had a bad trailer ride? Was she born with it? Did she fall over a fence? Is it swollen there? Is there scar tissue? Just something for me to note, to look into a little bit deeper. So it's more for that picture. And the next thing, the last final thing, is that this horse has an extraordinarily kind expression. But to me, her eye seems a little bit puffy. And it could be just who she is. Could be just what it looks like. Could be she has allergies. It could indicate a whole host of things. It could be they just groomed that big indoor arena and the dust bothered her. It could be an injury. Could be a sedative. All of those things are worth noting and investigating to find the real answer. And in the end, I did do some for the record, I did do some proper due diligence about this horse and the seller. And the horse did sell, and the seller honestly seems like a really great person who has beautiful horses that I'd actually really love to see. So for whatever it's worth, it's still worth looking deeper just to do your own due diligence, be your own advocate. So there you have it. Now, would you like to learn how to do this too? Minus the practice that you have to put in, because you do have to practice at this. It just takes slowing down and looking and using my systems. Well, here's your chance. Grab your chance to have access to all this while I can still offer at this price, because I need to be able to make a living at this at some point. But I really want the information to be out there, and I'm only letting in a limited number of people at this price, again, because I need to feed my own horses. So now's the time before your timer runs out. And remember, if you jump on it before and you're one of the first 20, that hour of horse management business consultation you'll get from yours truly. So I'm really looking forward to that. I hope that you do this. So remember that to do this, all you have to do next is to click the button below and make it happen. I really hope you do. Thank you so much for watching and for the kindness of your time. I know your days are busy, and I hope that this helped, because I really hope that this is something that opens doors to people to follow something that's been dear to them for a long time, the idea of owning a horse. So anything I can do to help you, trust me, I would love to do it. I would love to know you. I would love to know what you are looking for from the horse world. So click now. Click the button below. It's only $49 a month. We'll see you on the other side, and we'll have some fun, and you'll get to learn all kinds of things. Thanks a lot, and have a wonderful evening, and click below, okay?